Shalom, shalom. Right, we back at it. Right, we're gonna pick up where we left off, which was the chariots. The Lord has 20,000s, even thousands of chariots. Let's go further back. Let's go back in time. Let's go to the book of Exodus. Let's go to the book of Exodus, the 5th chapter. Let's go to Exodus chapter 5, and we'll jump all the way down to, let's see, 24. Let's start at 23. And all the days of Enoch were 365 years. And Enoch walked with God. In other words, he kept the commandments. That's what it means to walk with God. And he was not, for God took him. Right? He was here one moment, and the Lord delivered him. He removed him from off the face of this earth. So let's fast forward. Let's go back forward in time, right? From the point of Genesis to Jude, chapter 1, verse 14. And it reads, and Enoch, the very same Enoch that we just, read about in Genesis 5 and 24 and down, and Enoch, also the 7th from Adam, prophesied of these, saying, behold, the Lord cometh with 10,000s of his saints. And these chariots, right? They're not coming back to pick up, babies, right? Edomite babies. It's not coming back to pick up the cats, the dogs, the politicians. It's coming back chiefly for Israel. But it's coming back for another purpose as well. It tells you in Jude chapter 1, verse 15, to execute judgment upon all and to convince all that are ungodly among them of all their ungodly deeds, which they have ungodly committed, and of all their hard speeches, which ungodly sinners have spoken against them. So these people, they're going to be destroyed by these chariots, right? Not these. Matter of fact, let me pull up a more accurate one. So, if you don't know, the government, they came out not too long ago, I want to say maybe around a year ago or two, they said, well, look, UFOs are real. They couldn't hide it anymore. These are the so-called UFOs. And it sounds so crazy. We sound bugged out. We sound like lunatics, right? You may even want to buy some tinfoil hats from the way that we're speaking. And that's because you're so familiar and indoctrinated, thinking and believing that there's little green men in these ships. Based off the movies, the books, sensationalism, it all makes you believe that these are being operated by a little green man or a gray man, right? Some may refer to them as the grays and the other green alien races, and they don't know what's going on, and they crashed the earth, and they're in Area 51, kind of took some of the chariots. No, none of that. First of all, none of that's true. Not even Area 51 containing these high engineered, I can't even use the word engineer, because that's such a carnal word to describe something so spiritual and heavenly, right? They have no authority or power to contain such a beautiful so-called machinery, right? This wasn't made by man's hands. This isn't engineered so-called by man's hands. This was formed and concocted in the heavens. So it's actually angels in there. There are actual so-called, well, not so-called, but there's actual angels in the scriptures. And in the scriptures, they're operating these chariots. Let's get Revelation chapter 1, verse 7. Behold, he cometh with clouds, and every eye shall see him, and they also which pierce him. And all kindreds of the earth shall wail because of him. Even so, Amen. So even when the Lord Yahweh Shai Hamashiach comes back, right, he's coming with the clouds. Not a flying nimbus, right? Not different types of clouds. I don't know. He's not coming back on these type of clouds. It's not what it's referring to. What is this? The Lord's not coming back on a stratus cloud. He's not coming back on a nimble stratus or a alto stratus. He's not coming back like that, right? He's not Goku. The Lord, Yahweh Shai, our Savior, he is not Goku. This isn't an anime. That's why people call us bug outs. That's why they think, oh, you're crazy. You guys are nuts. You're yelling at people. You're saying a big black man is going to come out the sky flying on a spaceship or a UFO. You guys are nuts. You're wearing, somebody said we're wearing French fries on the bottom of our shirts. Somebody said you got carpets on your shirts. Your women are all wearing dresses. You guys are nuts. I mean, all praises. I'm glad to be found nuts in this world, right? I'm glad. Because if I'm not sane, according to this world, I don't, they all praises, so be it. So let's move on. All right, let's bring out 2 Kings. It still all touches back on Swing Low, Sweet Chariot. This is heavy. This is heavy, man. Second Kings chapter 2, verse 10. And he said, thou hast asked a hard thing. And he said, thou hast asked a hard thing. Nevertheless, if thou see me when I am taken from thee, it shall be so unto thee. But if not, it shall not be so. Right? So the context is Elisha asking Elijah for a double portion of his spirit. And that was his response. But let's get to the crux of the matter, which is verse 11. And it came to pass, as they still went on and talked, that behold, there appeared a chariot of fire. Keep in mind, right? Not to downplay our forefathers, but they don't know what technology is. They won't know how to describe something so futuristic. Therefore, he's going to refer it to as something that he's familiar with, such as a chariot or a cloud, right? And so he described it as a chariot of fire and horses of fire. Because a horse can't be on fire. What does he mean by that then? He means, and touching on, that this is strong and this is magnificent, even as a horse. It's just describing a might and a power and a majesty that is coming in. And parted them both asunder, and Elijah went up by a whirlwind into heaven. And when it's saying into heaven, he went into that chariot. So now you're probably thinking, what the heck did Elijah get abducted? Right? On a carnal level, you can say he got abducted, but not the way that you may think of. He didn't get abducted by aliens and taken to Z98-847 in the third galaxy. Right? He got abducted, righteous. Well, I don't want to use the word abducted because that implies, there's some type of malicious intent with it. Right? He got translated. Right, even as Enoch did, he was translated into the chariot, and was brought up into the heavens. Now you may be thinking, well, where did they go? Where did they go? That may be a lesson for another day, right? When we touch on regeneration, Lord willing, which will be soon. But hey, just know he's in a spiritual world. After this moment, he's in a spiritual world, and he's gonna come back down. But we'll get to that later. Right? But I want to touch on this real quick before we touch on the next Negro spiritual. I looked over Jordan, and what did I see? Coming forth to carry me home, a band of angels coming after me. See how it says a band of angels, as it reads in Psalm 68 and 17? A band of angels coming after thee, coming to deliver Israel. Let's get this. I meant to get this in the beginning. It's Psalms chapter 137, verse 1. By the rivers of Babylon, and keep in mind, there's nothing new under the sun. By the rivers of Babylon, there we sat down. Yea, we wept when we remembered Zion. So they're by the rivers of Babylon, remembering Zion, even as our forefathers did during the 1600s, where slavery was at its highest. They sat down remembering Israel, Jerusalem. That's why they said to carry me home. Because where are these chariots coming from, according to this spiritual? They're coming from the east. They're literally coming from the east. That's why he said, I looked over Jordan. He can't physically see over Jordan, but he's saying, I'm looking, past, in a sense, past the Jordan River, which is Jerusalem. I'm seeing from Jerusalem the chairs coming forth to take me home. And that further proves that when we were taken from the west coast of Africa, not even that is our homeland. Because the west coast of Africa, between the west coast of Africa and America, the Jordan River is further behind. So that further implies, and I don't want to keep using that word imply, but for lack of better words, that suggests, I would say, that, or points to the fact that we come from Jerusalem, come from Israel, from the far east. And see how it says, coming forth to carry me home. So we already established that the people of the Bible are men, women, and children of color. So keep that in mind when we read Zechariah chapter 8, verse 3. I'll start at verse 1. And again, the word of the Lord of hosts came to me, saying, Thus saith the Lord of hosts, I was jealous for Zion with great jealousy, and I was jealous for her with great fury. Thus saith the Lord, I am returned unto Zion, and will dwell in the midst of Jerusalem, and Jerusalem shall be called a city of truth, and the mountain of the Lord of hosts, the holy mountain. Right? Now this touches on the future. This is prophecy. It's a prophetic book after all. This is speaking about future Jerusalem, and it's going to describe what Jerusalem is going to be like. And it reads, Thus saith the Lord of hosts, there shall yet old men and old women dwell in the streets of Jerusalem, and every man with a staff in his hand, for very age. And the streets of this city shall be full of boys and girls playing in the streets thereof. So you're going to have people. Oh my goodness, let me keep reading. Thus saith the Lord of hosts, if it be marvelous in the eyes of the remnant of this people in these days, should it also be marvelous in mine eyes, saith the Lord of hosts. So he said, y'all think it's going to look good to y'all? It's going to look good to me too, right? Now let's read verse 7. Thus saith the Lord of hosts, behold, I will save my people, my possessive. Not everybody, not all people. He said, my people. My people literally implies that this is exclusive. This is exclusive VIP type of talk, right? If I say, you my girl, I can't be talking about every girl on earth. If I say, I'm going to save my dog, or I'm going to save my dogs. If I got two, I'm going to save my dogs. I'm not talking about every dog. I'm talking about my dogs, right? So again, I will bring them, and they shall dwell. Oh, it's like I'm jumping the gun. Verse 7. Thus saith the Lord of hosts, behold, I will save my people from the east country and from the west, because even according to James 1:1, we are scattered to and fro. According to the curses in Deuteronomy, we will be scattered to and fro, right? But it also says this, I will save my people from the east country and from the west country, and I will bring them, and they shall dwell in the midst of Jerusalem. So how is the Lord going to bring us into Jerusalem? Is he going to bring a train, choo-choo, call us an Uber? He's going to bring us a magnificent chariot, and that chariot is going to deliver us. That chariot is going to come from the east, right? And I'm saying the east because even according to scriptures and prophecy, right, the majority of Israel is dwelling in the west. They're dwelling in the Americas, right? Not to say you don't have Israel in Japan, China, and Ethiopia. There are Israelites over there as well. We even have tons and millions of Israelites in England, right? So again, it's saying that these chairs will come from the east, right, and from the west, if you have ears to hear, right? They're going to save the Israelites and bring them back to Jerusalem. They're going to bring us back to Jerusalem. So that's what this Negro spiritual is saying. I looked over Jordan, and what did I see? Coming forth to carry me home. A band of angels coming after me, coming forth to carry me home. And if you get there before I do, coming forth to carry me home, tell all my friends I'm coming too. So that's what that Negro spiritual is about. We got another one. This is a beautiful one as well. There is fire in the east and fire in the west, right? Because the Lord's going to set loose that destruction from all corners of the world. Let's get that real quick in Revelation chapter 7. Revelation chapter 7, verse 1. And after these things I saw 4 angels standing on the 4 corners of earth, holding the 4 winds. Winds represent power as well and strength, right? Really destruction. The 4 winds of the earth, that the wind should not blow on the earth, nor on the sea, nor on the tree, or any tree, right? So they're holding back this destruction, this impending doom destined for America, and not only America, but towards these nations as well, right? That's that fire. That's that destruction. Let me get the Apocrypha. 2nd Ezra chapter 16, verse 1. Woe be unto thee, Babylon and Asia. Woe be unto thee, Egypt and Syria. Gird up yourselves with cloth of sack, hair, and bewail your children, and be sorry, for your destruction is at hand. A sword is sent upon you, and who may turn it back? A fire is sent among you, and who may quench it? So the Lord's coming back with a fiery, flaming sword. Stop thinking the Lord's coming back to eat chili dogs and to help you do your damn homework. It's another one. 1 Thessalonians. I mean, that's madness. Maybe 2 Thessalonians chapter 1, verse 7. And to you who are troubled, rest with us, when the Lord shall be revealed from heaven with his mighty angels. So we establish that Christ is the so-called black man. We're proving with the evidence of the scriptures that Christ is going to come back with the multitude of his angels, with the bands of his chariots, with the thousands of his angels out of heaven, right? And we've also proven and still proven that he's going to come back to deliver Israel. So here you have a so-called black man coming out the sky on a UFO. And I mean, the more you think, like, what the hell is this? What have I been taught all my life? Is this the truth? If this is the truth, why have I been lied to? Right? There's a lot of questions that should be going through your head. And it reads, and to you who are troubled, rest with us, when the Lord Yahushua shall be revealed from heaven with his mighty angels in flaming fire, taking vengeance on them that know him not. It's like that know not God. So we already mentioned that in Revelation 1 and 7, Jude 1 and 14. It's written darkly in Genesis 5 and 24 that Yahushua is coming back with a flaming fire and sword, even in Revelation 14 and 14. Right? And that obey not the gospel of our Lord Yahushua, who shall punish with everlasting destruction from the presence of the Lord and from the glory of his power. And even the Lord said in Luke 19:27, all those who do, let me not butcher it, let me just get it. Luke chapter 19, verse 27. And it reads, but those mine enemies, which would not that I should reign over them, bring hither, slay them before me. And that's deep on many levels. Within the context of that parable, right, the Lord demanded that the servants, right, flip the gold and flip the talents. In other words, multiply their works, that his name may be magnified and glorified. But on another level, to accept Yahushua, you have to submit yourself and subdue yourself that he has reign over you. And a lot of people don't want Yahushua to be over their life. That's why everything we do, being in this truth, is predicated off the scriptures. Because when it's predicated off the scriptures, that shows and teaches our people that we have Yahushua guiding us as sheep, because he is our shepherd. Let me get this in Acts chapter 1. Acts chapter 1, and I'll start at verse verse 8. Yeah, 1 and 8. But ye shall receive power after that the Holy Ghost is come upon you, and ye shall be witnesses unto me both in Jerusalem and in all Judea and in Samaria and until all the utmost parts of the earth. And when he had spoken these things, while they beheld, he was taken up, and a cloud received him out of their sight. And while they looked steadfastly toward heaven, as he went up, behold, 2 men stood by them in white apparel, which also said, Ye men of Galilee, why stand ye gazing up into heaven? This same Yahushua which is taken up from you into heaven shall so come in like manner as ye have seen him go into heaven. Are you going to see it again and then some? And also, he's going into this cloud. This cloud, by now you should very well know that this cloud is a chariot. And so, there's a fire in the east and a fire in the west. Send them angels down. A fire among the Methodists. Oh, send them angels down. Oh, brother. Oh, Satan is mad and I am glad. Send them angels down. He missed the soul he thought he had. Oh, send them angels down. This is the year of Jubilee. This is a breakdown within itself. Right? But when you read Leviticus, the 25th chapter, in the 10th verse, it speaks about the year of Jubilee. In other words, let's pull it up. Right? Jubilee, anniversary rejoicing, from the Latin jubilarius or ibularius. The Jubilee year, originally an adjective of the Jubilee, the Greek, right? From the Hebrew, right? That's Yiddish. It would be something to the effect of Yaba'al, something to that effect. Formerly a trumpet ram's horn, literally ram. The original Salakian, the Jubilee was a year of emancipation of slaves and restoration of lands, to be celebrated every 50th year. It was proclaimed by the sounding of a ram's horn on the Day of Atonement. And check this out. The form of the word was altered in Latin by association. Let's get to the point. As a type of African American folk song, it is attested from 1872. That's right, because we sang about it. We knew about the year of Jubilee, right? This is the year of Jubilee. This is the year that we're going to be set free. And that's what we hope every year, right? Every day we're here in captivity, we hope this is the year of Jubilee for us, right? Because when you read into the year of Jubilee, matter of fact, I'll get it real quick. This is Leviticus chapter 25, verse 10. And ye shall hallow the 50th year, mean to make holy. Ye shall hallow the 50th year and proclaim liberty throughout all the land unto all the inhabitants thereof. It shall be a jubilee unto you. And ye shall return every man unto his possession, and ye shall return every man unto his family. Now, if Esau America, if they swear upon a Bible, if they which the certain lawyers, I believe, and even the POTUS, they swear upon the Bible, and they're doing that in blasphemy because they don't acknowledge or uphold the things that are within the Bible. Because if they did, they would have been let us go. They would have been let us go about 450 plus years ago, or however long we've been here. They would have let us been go after that 50th year of when they took us. So here we see again our forefathers singing by the rivers of Babylon, right? This is the year of Jubilee. Let me get that again. Psalm chapter 137, verse 1. By the rivers of Babylon, there we sat down, yea, we wept when we remembered Zion, we hanged our harps upon the willows in the midst thereof. For there they that carried us away captive required of us a song, and they that wasted us required of us mirth, saying, Sing us one of the songs of Zion. How shall we sing the Lord's song in a strange land? If I forget thee, O Jerusalem, let my right hand forget her cunning. If I do not remember thee, my tongue cleave unto the roof of my mouth, if I prefer not Jerusalem above my chief joy. Right? So in these verses that we just read, it speaks about Israel being in captivity, required to sing a song by their owners, which are the so-called Edomites. It's like the so-called white man, which is Esau. And here we are singing them in the fields. Oh brother, my way is cloudy, my way